From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Millicent Walker.
Good evening. Tonight, chilling testimonies on day 3 of the Lagos Judicial Panel sitting as 2 petitioners narrate their ordeal in the hands of the disbanded anti-robbery squad in Lagos. Ekiti State Governor Dr. Kayode Fayemi restates call for the devolution of powers and resources to the federating unit in Nigeria as part of ways towards building a united country. Security operatives apprehend more suspects following the massive looting that took place across the country in the aftermath of the NSAS protests. And 3 days to the US presidential election, President Donald Trump and his Democratic rival Joe Biden make final pitches to American voters. Plus, business and sports coming up.
On business news tonight, federal government announces new websites and dates for access to the 75 billion naira micro, small and medium enterprises survival fund.
And on sports news tonight, a lucky loser, Lorenzo Sonego's fairy tale run continues after beating Daniel Evans 6-3, 6-4 to reach the Vienna Open final.
There are sordid details regarding the experiences of some Nigerians in the hands of the disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad while the police unit held sway. More petitioners have been giving their testimonies at the Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry and Restitution, sitting for victims of the squad on the 3rd day of its sitting. The first testimony came from a couple, Mr. and Mrs. Okuchukwu Obiechina. Mrs. Obiechina says she was in SARS detention for 22 days, a painful experience which she said led to the loss of her pregnancy.
I'm a teacher and my husband is a businessman. The number called me and asked me if I received the text. I said yes. Who is this? Because I'm not expecting any parcel from the DHL. He said I should give him my address and asked me what I do. I told the person that I'm a teacher. He said okay, that I should give him my school address. On getting to the school gate, I saw a jeep, black jeep, with hoodmen inside, and one person was on a DHL apron coming down. So he was calling me. As I was answering the call, he was down there monitoring and was giving signal to those in front. Immediately they approached me. They started beating me in front of the school. They pushed me inside the car. They left with me, not knowing where I was going to. Inside the car, the men were slapping me, beating me. And I was 2 months plus pregnant. They now took us to Federal SARS Ikeja. So that was how I was arrested and my husband too joined. Then I started crying and I was telling them the whole truth I know. They said it's a lie. That I must provide the person I don't know the whereabouts. I pleaded with them. I said, I have a 5-year-old child in the school. 5-year-old child in the school. Let me call somebody that will take him home. They said, let him die there. That he too is also a kidnapper. They left us there 1 week. A pregnant woman. I did not eat. I did not drink. I told them I want to go because I wanted to register for antenatal. They said I should burn the child there. They said no, let the baby die. And on the process, I lose the baby. It was later, after the detention, I came out. When I was released, I went to hospital. They now found out that the baby is gone. You have to wash it off. So along the line, on the 1st of October the same year, they came for the second arrest of my husband. That I need my husband by my side to stay with me so that I will be able to gather up. 1 week gone, I did not see my husband. Not until after 2 weeks. So due to the emotional trauma again, on the process, I lost the second pregnancy.
Another petitioner, 60-year-old Mr. Olajide Fowotade, claims he was accosted by a police officer in plain clothes on his way home. He said he was beaten and lost his 2 front teeth as a result.
So on that fateful day when I'm coming on the night, some man are making U-turning in my front. I have to be patient in order not to hit any one of them. I just hear some Okada rider is coming, banging my car. You're the Swiss lemon, go now, why are you waiting for them? I said, do you want me to kill or finish any one of them? He said, why are you talking to me like that? What do you want me to say? Are you with yourself? Can't you see your front? Not knowing that it's a policeman. They go and raid Okada. So they are driving, and it's in mufti, not in police uniform. He just come in my front. He managed to come in my front. Because those men who are still doing U-turn, they just block my way. You don't know who you are talking to. I say, who are you? Can't you see yourself? You say, you are talking to me. Before I know inside my son, he just slapped me. And my wife is my side. My wife told me, say, don't fight him, don't fight him. But when the beating is too much, I have to come out from my car. On getting out, the man just, there are 2. The other one didn't beat me, I won't lie. But he hold me. This man just used his head. The next thing I see, the 2 teeth just come, and I faint immediately. Oh yeah, he just called down one of his men. Oh yeah, carry this man because I can't drive. This thing takes us some time, so not as quick as I'm just explaining. I'm just want you to be faster. The man just tell me that they should carry me to the police station. They carry my motor because I don't know where I'm at that time. When I got to the police station, they parked my car at the back. This is the same one Sergeant Ayo at Ketu police station. Say, come and meet me. Say, where I say I will deal with you. You are talking to me outside like say you are talking to your... This man started another round of beating.
Petitions at the Lagos panel of inquiry earlier today are away from the panel as Nigerians continue to recommend ways of building a united country. Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State has stressed the need to actualize the principle of devolution of powers and resources to the federating unit. He is advocating a revenue-sharing formula that is in favor of the states, especially given the argument to devolve more responsibilities to the subnationals. He made the submissions during a lecture he delivered at the 50th anniversary of the Arewa House in Kaduna State, attended by eminent personalities, including the former Vice President Namadi Sambo, Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, and the Sultan of Sokoto, among others.
Nigeria, the quest for a more perfect union, is the reason eminent personalities from across the country are gathered as Arewa House, a research and documentation arm of the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, commemorate its 50th anniversary.
We're very grateful to the
For the guest speaker and governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, devolution of powers to the states and reviewing the revenue sharing formula in favor of the federating units is important.
Our desire to build a more perfect union should be anchored on the principle of devolution of powers, that is, reallocation of powers and resources to the country's federating units. The reasons for this are not far-fetched. First, long years of military rule has produced an over-concentration of powers and resources at the center to the detriment of the states. Two, the 1999 Constitution, as has been argued by several observers, was hurriedly put together by the departing military authority and was not a product of sufficient inclusiveness.
Others present believe the current system needs rejigging, especially in these trying times.
The APC Committee on Federalism recommended that the Federation be rebalanced, with more powers and responsibilities devolved to the states. The committee also clarified that the Federation is a relationship solely between the states and the federal government, and that each state should be allowed to operate the system of local government that best suits its circumstances, culture, and diversity.
We give our commitment to the people of Northern Nigeria and indeed Nigeria that we shall continue to do our best as governors of the 19 states in the north in ensuring that we create an enabling environment for better education, for better infrastructure, job creation, and entrepreneurship in Northern Nigeria.
The recent EndSARS protest in the country is an eye-opener to all. Former Vice President of Nigeria, Namadi Sambo, and the Sultan of Sokoto implore youths to limit their agitation within the confines of the law.
Let me use the opportunity to appeal to the youth of this great country to exercise restraint while they demand for an end to alleged public brutality. But you must be calm and remain law-abiding while the federal government addresses your grievances with the urgency that it deserves.
Because when you do get to leadership positions, please drop political names or political affiliations. Once you are in a position, you should be a leader to all and for all. And that's what we want our political leaders to be and to do at all times.
This event, let me acknowledge some of the guests.
While there are many arguments and agitations for and against what's described as an unbalanced political system in the country, some Nigerians believe this might just be the time to initiate a constitutional amendment that will be favorable to both the federating units and the center.
Meanwhile, the quest to fish out looters who took advantage of the EndSARS protests is gradually paying off, with 41 arrests made by the Nigerian Navy in Lagos. The base operating officer of NNS Beecroft, Commander Andrew Zidon, says the suspects were apprehended with various stolen items within the Apapa Surulere axis in the course of the Navy's patrol and operations to secure lives and property.
In the course of carrying out its activities within this period, the base conducted over 200 active patrols and responded to over 50 distress calls from citizens and organizations. In the course of the operation, 41 individuals were arrested for partaking in various criminal acts, including looting and attacks on innocent citizens of the state. They will be handed over to Nigerian police today. Furthermore, a large number of looted items were recovered at various locations across the state and evacuated to the base. These items include vehicles, household appliances, industrial equipment, foodstuff, clothes, jewelries, bicycles, estimated at about 100 million naira. In fact, a large truck and minibus were also discovered loaded with looted items about to be taken out of state prior to their being apprehended. NNS Beecroft is currently working with Lagos State government for the handover of the items and their return to the rightful owners.
In part two, after the break, still on the aftermath of the EndSARS protests, more suspects end up in police net following looting of government and private properties. That's in a moment. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Chilling testimonies on day 3 of the Lagos Judicial Panel as 2 petitioners narrate their ordeal in the hands of the disbanded anti-robbery squad in Lagos. Ekiti State Governor Dr. Kayode Fayemi restates call for the devolution of powers and resources to the federating unit in Nigeria as part of ways towards building a united country. Security operatives apprehend more suspects following the massive looting that took place across the country in the aftermath of the EndSARS protests. And 3 days to U.S. presidential election, President Donald Trump, his Democratic rival Joe Biden, make final pitches to American voters. In Kaduna State, 93 suspected looters and vandals of public and private property in various parts of the state capital have been apprehended by police. Briefing journalists on the security situation in the state, the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Umaru Muri, explains that the arrested suspects were responsible for the recent vandalization and theft of public and private properties across the state.
And I think so far we arrested and arraigned not less than 36 suspects. We have already arraigned not less than 36 suspects. We have arrested more. I think we have 67 suspects for now, and we have already arraigned more than 36 suspects before the court of law. And after we are done with the investigation, I'm assuring you we are going to arraign them before a court of competent jurisdiction. And we already warned the members of the public, particularly those that looted government palliatives or whatever and private businesses, to return this thing peacefully through their traditional rulers. Or else we are going to conduct a home-to-house search with a view to recovering and then arresting the perpetrators of this looting.
The Niger State government and some stakeholders from the state have called on President Muhammadu Buhari to immediately address the remote causes of the recent protests that have also led to youths going on rampage. Among the issues they want the president to address are the high rate of poverty, hunger, unemployment, infrastructural decay, and insecurity. The youths admonished both the state and local governments against hoarding palliatives meant for less privileged citizens. Our correspondent Emperor Simon reports.
For days, streets in Minna, the Niger State capital, witnessed large turnouts of youths protesting against alleged failure of the federal government to address the challenges of bad federal roads, epileptic power supply, insecurity, youth unemployment, all in addition to the call to end police brutality. The protests have been put on hold, but engagement of the youth is now an ongoing process as directed by President Muhammadu Buhari, and the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Zubairu Dada, is in Niger State to dialogue with critical stakeholders on the way forward.
Honorable, I am glad to have here representing the government to speak on our behalf to convey our intentions and messages to His Excellency. We need our roads to be fixed, and that very, very quickly, so that we will not remain disappointed as far as this is concerned.
There is a call for specific attention to be given to the youths, just as they berate both the state and local governments for allegedly delaying the distribution of palliatives.
At a time when you can bring over 1.5 million on the street that are jobless, controlling them will be practically impossible. I want you to please tell His Excellency, these are problems that are evident, these are problems that are known, and these are problems that are really pointed for everybody to see.
The state government hopes the message of the stakeholders reaches President Buhari as part of solutions to the crisis.
Almost at 100% of the issue raised, almost 95%. You have to take it to Mr. President.
The minister, however, emphasizes the need for unity and collective responsibility.
It is a moment for sober reflection. It is a moment for introspection by both leaders and followers. For us to ask ourselves, where have we gone wrong? Where are we going wrong? And what is it that we need to do to get things right?
Participants drawn from all walks of life are expectant that a meeting such as this will lead to a major transformation in the state. Emperor Simon, Channel Television News.
The recent looting that trailed the NSAS protest led to damages and losses estimated in trillions of naira. In the aftermath of the unfortunate incidents, many believe that the action of the looters was driven by hunger. In this special report, analysts attribute it to the people's frustration and the negative perception about governance. Like a swarm of bees, rampaging residents in various parts of the country break into warehouses, carting away food items meant to cushion the effect of COVID-19 pandemic on the poor and vulnerable. From Lagos to Osun and Oyo, to Edo, Cross River, Akwa Ibom and Abia states in the south, Kwara, Kaduna, Adamawa and Taraba states in the north, as well as the Federal Capital Territory, among others. A fallout from a peaceful protest hijacked by some citizens. Certainly an unlikely expectation from the average Nigerian. Interestingly, the looters were a mix of the poor and those who could afford the items. While many claim the act is driven by hunger, sustainable development advocate and public affairs analyst Jide Ologun thinks there's more to it.
Hunger mixed with anger, mixed with frustration, mixed with perception of bad governance. And the people suddenly discover that, even though we claim that the economy is in recession, even though we claim that the revenue of the government is dwindling, even though we claim that we should all prepare for hard times, this huge quantity of relief materials are kept somewhere. And so with the anger and hunger and frustration, they went for it.
His opinion is buttressed by a thought miner, social issue analyst and author.
Somebody that steals an electronic gadget is not going to eat that electronic gadget. Yes, they can dispose of it and use the money to eat. But the reality is that it's not just about hunger. It's about a complete distrust and a complete disconnection with that entity.
A 25 billion naira youth fund has been created by the federal government to address the concerns arising from the NSAS protests and other matters. Some state governments have also set up grants to fund youth entrepreneurs and announce job opportunities in public institutions.
It is excellent and timely if you go by the Chinese maxim that says the best time to have planted a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is now. Now the government is coming out with some billions of naira to support the youth on startup. If we are supporting them with those funds, can we make the economic environment also supportive in terms of electricity, the tax regime, and different incentives that we can bring in?
Analysts believe that the lootings have exposed seeming disconnect between the government and the governed, and the former needs to do more to restore the people's confidence, particularly the younger generation. In the meantime, Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State has called for the training of personnel of the new police formation to replace that of the disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad. He made the call during an empowerment program at Kari local government area of the state. The governor, who described as disheartening the disbandment of SARS, calls for understanding from the youth.
We cannot completely dismantle the police force as a security outfit. Because if you do, when we have problems, who are we going to call? Are we now going to call criminals to come and protect us? It's the same police that will call. So I call on our youth to please sit back a little bit, understand it. Every nation has police force that actually uses the opportunity to protect the nation. And everywhere you go, as a matter of fact, in the US where I have lived for most of my life, police are more feared than even the military and any other security outfit. So those are the kind of reforms that we will make in order to ensure that the police is well trained and well equipped. And that's why it is disheartening to see that SARS is completely dismantled.
From Nasarawa State to Anambra State, where Governor Willie Obiano has visited the Anambra State Internal Revenue Service house in Oka to assess the level of damage perpetrated by hoodlums who hijacked the NSAS protest. Although the attackers were unable to burn down the building completely, they torched 4 vehicles and carted away some property, including ICT assets. We'll bring you that report shortly. But Bauchi State government is advancing a policy for zero tolerance on environmental pollution. This comes as the state governor, Bala Mohammed, says there are plans to establish an environmental science laboratory to complement its environmental management initiative. He said this while receiving the Director General of the National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency, NESRIA, Professor Ali Ujaro, who was on a courtesy call to intimate the governor about plans to establish the office in the state.
For implementation of the proposed solutions, and the findings from the environmental scan exercise will similarly serve as input for policy in the state. This environmental scan is a best practice that we are doing to help you discharge your statutory responsibility as a state. And with that, we are in the process of establishing our own environmental science laboratory in Bauchi at the cost of about 40 million naira. In that, we will be able to test. The laboratory will serve as a center for water, air, and soil quality testing to the state environmental consultants, researchers, as well as other companies, so that by the time we are discussing anything about environmental impact analysis, we'll be able to do it with a tinge of science and technology.
And from environment to health, where the National Center for Women Development Center is providing 24-hour service for screening and detection of both breast and cervical cancers through its clinic situated in the nation's capital. According to the Director General of the center, the initiative is part of the federal government's resolve to reduce the burden of the disease in Nigeria. Both breast and cervical cancers constitute about 12% and 21% of new cancer cases in the country.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month is marked in countries across the world every October to increase attention and support for the awareness, early detection and treatment, as well as palliative care of the disease. Reports from the World Health Organization show that there are about 1.38 million new cases and 458,000 deaths from breast cancer annually. Figures from cervical cancer cases in the country and across the globe are not also encouraging. In Nigeria, officials of the National Center for Women Development are charting a new course towards the survival of women through sensitization and early detection.
In order to overcome these challenges, the National Center for Women Development Clinic is now open 24 hours to prevent women deserving ranging from pap smear to mammogram, breast ultrasound, and the administration of the HPV vaccine.
Both breast and cervical cancers are by far the most common cancers in women globally. In low and middle-income countries, the numbers have been rising steadily in the last years due to increase in life expectancy, increased urbanization, and adoption of Western lifestyles. In Nigeria, while breast cancer constitutes over 12% of new cases in the country, 10,000 new cervical cancer cases are diagnosed with 8,000 deaths annually. Currently, there is no sufficient knowledge on the causes of breast cancer. Therefore, early detection of the disease remains the cornerstone of breast cancer control. When breast cancer is detected early, and if adequate diagnosis and treatment are available, there is a good chance that breast cancer can be cured.
Hopefully, before the end of this regime, the First Lady of Nigeria
She's going to establish a state-of-the-art cancer center in Abuja. Already we have the facilities, the structure in Kano, and some other, possibly in the 6 geopolitical zones.
Every opportunity to provide space for people to be able to test is something that needs to be commended. As the United Nations Women, we stand in solidarity with you, and we commend you for what you are doing.
The majority of cancer-related deaths, according to the World Health Organization, occur in low and middle-income countries, where most women are diagnosed in late stages, due mainly to lack of awareness on early detection and barriers to health services. Experts are of the opinion that the situation can be reversed if adequate public health programs are put in place.
We return to the NSAS protest aftermath with a story where the Lagos State government has lifted the curfew which the government imposed on the state after the hijack of the peaceful NSAS protest. And this is from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. The curfew imposed by the federal government to curb the spread of COVID-19 remains. I'll take that again. This is from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. The curfew imposed by the federal government to curb the spread of COVID-19 remains. In a statement released today, the governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, says Lagosians are free to go about their businesses without any hindrance, while security agencies will continue to discharge their duties. The governor also approved that all state civil servants from grade levels 1 to 12 who were earlier directed to work from home since March due to the COVID-19 pandemic should return to work with effect from Monday, the 2nd of November, 2020. Meanwhile, the governor has asked Lagosians to cooperate with security operatives in maintaining the peace in the state and not encouraging any action that may turn back the clock. Meanwhile, the Ekiti state government has also lifted the curfew imposed on the state with effect from 6 a.m. tomorrow, November the 1st. The decision to lift the curfew was taken following an assessment of the security situation and the restoration of relative peace in the state. The state governor also approved the lifting of the restrictions placed on religious gatherings during the coronavirus pandemic with effect from the same date, November the 1st. Meanwhile, the governor says while churches and mosques are now free to open for worship without restrictions, while worshippers are advised to continue to adhere to the COVID-19 protocol, which includes the wearing of the face mask, maintaining physical distancing, the proper hand washing and other measures before joining respective congregations. Now we take you back to the story coming from Anambra State, where the governor, Willie Obiano, has visited the Anambra State Internal Revenue Service house to assess the level of damage perpetrated by hoodlums who hijacked the NSAS protest.
This is what is left of the Anambra Revenue House in Awka, the state capital, after Rabenji youths vandalized some part of the structure on the 24th of October 2020. Governor Willie Obiano is here to ascertain the level of destruction at the facility. After touring the damaged structure, Chairman of the Anambra State Internal Revenue Service tells the governor that the angry youths went away with some important assets in the ICT unit.
Touched our office and vandalized a number of our working assets. They equally set fire. 3 fires were set in the building, but luckily we had some brave staff that were able to come in. They attempted to put off the fire before the fire service arrived.
Governor Obiano promises to rebuild all that were damaged in no distant time.
This place was vandalized, looted. They tried burning it. You know, about 4 days ago, when the miscreants on NSAS tried to burn a few of the government property. They did a lot of damage, stole quite some computers and some tools there. but we are going to fix that.
He also expresses his delight seeing the staff of the agency working on the makeshift arrangement to ensure that the state revenue is not totally lost.
Despite the physical challenges they have, they still been raising money from IGR. So I'm very happy about the team working here. So you keep it up. On my own part, we'll very quickly see our best to restore all that has been damaged.
In a related development, some female soldiers who are part of the special military squad deployed to the state to maintain peace and orderliness are received by the governor amidst cheers.
Louder.
They also demonstrate their ability, strength and high morale, while the governor charges them to make visible impact in the state.
Over in Kogi State, the police command has paraded 56 suspects alleged to have participated in the looting and vandalization of properties worth billions of naira in Lokoja. Parading the suspects at the command headquarters in Lokoja, the State Commissioner of Police said the Inspector General of Police has ordered all the commands to reclaim the public space and restore normalcy across the Federation. Angry youths in their numbers last week during the aftermath of the NSAS protests besieged several warehouses, looting, destroying medical and agricultural materials meant for the state government.
As at this point, we have about 56 suspects that are in custody, and they were arrested in relation to all these offenses. The final place they went was the Federal Minister of Agricultural Office, located at Ganaja Road. They went there just because they saw the signboard, Federal Minister of Agriculture. They thought there were food items there. They entered there were nothing. Then all the air conditioners, in fact, some were working, they just disconnected them, and everybody was, some pictures, anything they could lay their hands on, and they vandalized it. We also arrested suspects in relation to what happened there, because we arrived there at the nick of time, and we still met some of them doing it, and we arrested them red-handed. So these are some of the incidents that have happened.
And to some more stories now. Arise Women Nigeria, a faith-based non-governmental organization, has held the 2020 edition of its annual conference. The organization says it's thankful for surviving the COVID-19 pandemic. At the event, the group launched palliatives for Lagos State and also recognized the frontliners in the fight against COVID-19.
A dance of joy for surviving the COVID-19 pandemic this far to celebrate the 12th Arise Women Conference. Dr. Shiju Iluyomade cannot express her excitement enough as she gives her welcome speech, emphasizing, among other things, courage and vision for a better Nigeria.
This message is for my country, Nigeria. We need to have vision. Vision is the bridge between the present and the future. To be deeply rooted is to ensure that our vision as a country and as a people entails great and deep sacrifices. It is vision that builds restraint.
One of the special guests at the event, the Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, a survivor of COVID-19, stresses the need for citizens to be health conscious.
We're trying our best to avoid a second wave in Lagos and hopefully in Nigeria, but that depends on us. It depends on how we respect COVID compliance rules and regulations. You need to keep each aspect of your life in balance and healthy, exercising, putting out, eating good food, getting adequate rest, nurturing the next generation, mentoring our youth.
The chairperson of Access Bank, Dr. Dere Awoshika, draws attention to the theme of the event, deeply rooted, #staying alive.
Receive the word, get planted in him, rooted in him, grow in him, building in him, and blooming with fruits that will cause you to overcome.
The conference is a time to recognize and appreciate the frontliners of COVID-19. Commissioner for Health, Lagos and Ogun State, the chairperson of Access Bank, as well as the acting vice chancellor of Unilag, they are honored as Arise ambassadors.
To the glory of God, in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit.
One of the high points of the conference is the commissioning of palliative for Lagos State. The convener promises that the foodstuff would as much as possible reach all parts of the state.
The governor of Katsina State, Aminu Masari, has reassured his administration's commitment to complete all ongoing projects before the end of May 29, 2023. He made this known today during the inspection of the ongoing comprehensive renovation of the Katsina State House in Abuja. The governor explained that all ongoing and future projects that may be embarked upon meet to best quality standard that will be able to serve the next generation. And to security, the United States military officials say they have rescued an American citizen who was being held hostage in northern Nigeria. In a statement, Chief Pentagon spokesperson Jonathan Hoffman explains that the rescue operation was conducted this morning, October 31. Mr. Hoffman adds that the American citizen is safe and now in the care of the U.S. Department of State. The American was reportedly abducted in Niger Republic on Tuesday and subsequently moved to Nigeria. In his response to the action, U.S. President Donald Trump described it in a tweet as a big win for our very elite U.S. Special Forces today. The Nigerian military is yet to confirm whether the operation was carried out with or without their knowledge. That brings you some business news. Here's Teniola Shibowale.
Thanks a lot, Millicent. Welcome to Business News. The federal government has announced a new website for Nigerians to access the 75 billion naira macro, small and medium enterprises survival fund. In a statement released today, the Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, Miriam Katagum, says the survival fund website is www.survivalfund.gov.ng, which will be opened tomorrow, Sunday, November the 1st. The minister attributes the change in the website to operational challenges and has asked the public not to make any payment for the ongoing formalization process or any of the package under the scheme. Registration for the fund began on September 21st, 2020, but those who wish to apply had been having difficulties registering for the funds. The 75 billion naira MSME fund is an initiative of the federal government which aims to cushion the impact of COVID-19 on micro, small and medium businesses in the country by giving 100% grants to its applicants. Now, South African telecom giant MTN Group has completed its divestment from e-commerce platform Jumia, selling off 18.9% of its shares in the company. According to the company's third quarter financial result sent to the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the company is reported to have recorded $142.3 million as proceeds from the deal. In August, MTN Group had announced plans to sell off its 18.9% stake in Jumia and Telecom Tower Company IHS Towers, as well as streamline its portfolio and minimize debt by disposing of its non-core businesses. Last year, Jumia became the first African tech company to list on the New York Stock Exchange, while its shares soared to hit a $2 billion valuation. However, its failure to make a profit and issues with partners all sent its stock crashing down. The bullish momentum in the local bourse switched into a higher gear this week, with the all-share index breaking through 30,000 psychological mark. Investors' interest in Nestle, Bois Cement, GT Bank, Dangote Cement and Stanbic IBTC drove the benchmark index 6.39% higher, its sixth consecutive weekly gain. This came as investors hunted for bargain hunts following broadly positive corporate earnings release during the week. Activities recovered from the two-week slowdown as the value and volume of trades grew 20% and 26.8% week-on-week, respectively. Performance across sectors was an all-round positive as the consumer goods index topped the gainers chart, trailed by the banking, industrial, oil and gas and insurance indices. Analysts at Cordros Capital expect the direction of market performance to be shaped by the ongoing Q3 earnings season as investors look for evidence that the relaxation of lockdown has provided a tailwind for corporate earnings. Activities in the Treasury bill secondary market ended the week lackluster as yields hit their lowest level after market participants shifted their focus to the Nigerian Treasury bills primary market auction held on Wednesday. As a result, the average yield on instruments on the open market operation was flat at 0.5%, while yields at the Nigerian Treasury bill secondary market expanded by 12 basis points to 0.5%. Meanwhile, analysts expect investors to remain wary of T-bills and yields to remain within range due to slow demand for the debt instruments. Now, talks between the federal government and Labour on electricity tariffs increase is expected to resume next week after being temporarily suspended due to the NSAS protest. The Minister of State for Labour and Employment, who made this known, says the 7-man technical subcommittee set up to review the increase in electricity tariffs will meet with power distribution companies and electricity consumers across the 6 geopolitical zones. The committee is also expected to look at the issue of banding for electricity consumers in the second phase of its assignment, as well as of gas pricing, which is being sold to discuss in dollars. The consumer's overall confidence outlook for Nigeria dipped in the third quarter of 2020 as consumers were pessimistic in their outlook. According to the Central Bank of Nigeria, in its Consumer Expectation Survey report for September, the index at minus 21.2 points was 25.0 points lower than the index in the corresponding period of 2019. The report states that respondents attribute this unfavorable outlook to declining economic conditions, family financial situation, and decline in family income. Consumers were, however, optimistic in their outlook for the next quarter and next 12 months, with indices of 10.1 and 30.5 points, respectively. This positive outlook could be attributed to the expected increase in net household income and anticipated improvement in Nigeria's economic conditions and expectations to save or have plenty over savings in the next quarter and the next 12 months. And that's business news tonight. I'm Teniola Shoboale.
And voting has ended in Côte d'Ivoire's contested presidential election with reports of some disturbances in opposition strongholds with roads blocked and election materials burned. The polls went ahead despite opposition calls for a boycott and a civil disobedience campaign. At least 30 people have been killed since riots broke out in August after President Alassane Ouattara said he would run again following the sudden death of his preferred successor. The main opposition candidates, Pascal Affiangussen and Henry Konan Bede, say it is illegal for President Ouattara to stand for a third term. Polling stations open at 8 a.m. on Saturday and close at 6 p.m. Though it is not clear when the results will be announced, electoral authorities by law have up to 5 days to announce the results. And as U.S. Election Day approaches, U.S. President Donald Trump and his Democratic rival Joe Biden are making their final pitches to American voters, touting what is to come and especially boasting about their accomplishments. President Donald Trump held his first of 4 Pennsylvania rallies in Newtown, saying this is a state that will save the American dream. Meanwhile, Joe Biden joined forces with former U.S. President Barack Obama in Michigan, hoping to reverse Donald Trump's shock win in the state back in 2016. Now, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has announced a second national lockdown as coronavirus cases in the country have passed 1 million. Non-essential shops and hospitality will have to close for 4 weeks on Thursday. But unlike the restrictions in spring, schools, colleges, universities will be allowed to stay open. It comes as documents suggested the UK was on course for a much higher death toll than during the first wave.
And so now is the time to take action because there is no alternative. And from Thursday until the start of December, you must stay at home. You may only leave home for specific reasons, including for education, for work, let's say if you cannot work from home, for exercise and recreation outdoors with your household or on your own with one person from another household, for medical reasons, appointments, and to escape injury or harm, to shop for food and essentials, and to provide care for vulnerable people or as a volunteer. I'm afraid non-essential shops, leisure and entertainment venues will all be closed, though click and collect services can continue and essential shops will remain open, so there's no need to stock up.
Let's bring you some sports news now. Here's Kayode Alayande.
Thank you, Millicent. The League Management Company of Nigeria has certified 13 stadiums that have met the minimum requirements to host games in the 2020-2021 Nigeria Professional Football League season. The approved stadiums are Lagos, Uyo, Benin City, Asaba, and Okigwe. Others are Bauchi, Gombe, Makurdi, Kaduna, Aba, Katsina, and Ilorin. The LMC also recommended the stadiums in Kano, Agege, Akure, Warri, Jos, Enugu, Lafia, Newi, and Yola for upgrade and repairs, which will be inspected for certification after work has been completed. The league governing body asked clubs whose venues have not been certified to choose from any of the approved venues before the start of the season. In the English Premier League, Manchester City beat Sheffield United by a lone goal as Pep Guardiola's side secured 3 points at Bramall Lane. England defender Kyle Walker struck in the 28th minute with a superb long-range strike. Elsewhere, Chelsea defeated Burnley 3-0 at Turf Moor in what was a comfortable game for the Blues. Timo Werner, Kurt Zouma and Hakim Ziyech were all on the score sheet. In the last game of the day, Liverpool beat West Ham 2-1 at Anfield with goals from Mohamed Salah and Diogo Jota. To tennis now, Italian lucky loser Lorenzo Sonego's dream tournament continued with a ticket to Sunday's Vienna Open final after beating Britain's Dan Evans in straight sets. Sonego beat Evans 6-3, 6-4 in the semi-final, a day after he stunned world number one Novak Djokovic in straight sets. That will be all on sports news. Back to you, Melissa.
Thank you, Kaide. And finally, tributes to the iconic actor Sir Sean Connery have been pouring in from around the globe and on social media following the announcement of his death at the age of 90. The Scottish actor was best known for his portrayal of James Bond, being the first to bring the role to the big screen and appearing in 7 of the spy thrillers. His acting career spanned decades and his many awards included an Oscar, 2 BAFTA awards and 3 Golden Globes. Sir Sean's other films included The Hunt for Red October, Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade and The Rock. He was largely regarded as being the best actor to have played 007 in the long-running franchise, often been named as such in polls. His Oscar came in 1988 when he was named Best Supporting Actor for his role as an Irish cop in The Untouchables. He was knighted by the Queen in 2000. In August, he celebrated his 90th birthday. Good night to him. And the main news again, there were chilling testimonies on day 3 of the Lagos Judicial Panel sitting as 2 petitioners narrated their ordeal in the hands of the disbanded anti-robbery squad in Lagos. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Have a good night.